Welcome all of you in Renuka Institute of NEET. Myself Dr. Sushil Naik. Today in the biology lecture we will talk about mechanism of hormone action. Before understanding the mechanism of action of hormone, we need to understand the types of hormone. On the basis of solubility, hormones are of two types, and these are water soluble hormones and lipid soluble hormones. If we talk about water soluble hormones, these are proteinaceous hormones formed of amino acids. But remember that some iodothyronine like hormones, simply T3 and T4, are also water soluble. In the case of water soluble hormone, the extracellular receptor is required for the action of the hormone. In the case of lipid soluble hormones, when hormone come in contact with the cell membrane, due to presence of lipid in the cell membrane constitution, these hormones can easily enter into the cell, and that's why in the case of lipid soluble hormone we required intracellular receptor. For the water soluble hormone require extracellular receptor which is present on the surface of the target cell. Lipid soluble hormone intracellular receptor is present, and this receptor is present inside the cytoplasm of the target cell. Examples of water soluble hormones are protein hormone or peptide hormones and biogenic amines as well. Whereas lipid soluble hormones are steroid hormones. Let's talk about steroid hormone action first. Hormones are always conducted through the blood vessels. Simply, blood is responsible for the transport of hormones. These hormones diffuses out from the blood vessels near the target cell and then enter into the target cell or the tissue or the organ. Students, remember that steroid hormone is lipid soluble hormone. In the constitution of the plasma membrane of the target cell, lipid is present in the form of phospholipid bilayer, and through this phospholipid bilayer the steroid hormone enter into the target cell. Now in the cytoplasm of the target cell, cellular receptor or we can say intracellular receptor is present. This is intracellular receptor. This hormone bind with the intracellular receptor to form hormone receptor complex. This hormone receptor complex formed in the cytoplasm now enter inside the nucleus of the target cell. We know very well inside the nucleus the genome is there, simply in the form of DNA. Now this hormone receptor complex enter into the nucleus of the target cell and then bind with the DNA at the specific site. And when this hormone receptor complex bind with genome of the DNA, it induces certain processes inside the nucleus, and these are simply induces transcription process. In the transcription, mRNA is synthesized. So inside the nucleus of the target cell, mRNA is synthesized under the influence of hormone receptor complex. This mRNA diffuse out from the nucleus and locate in the cytoplasm with the help of ribosome. This mRNA come outside from the nucleus and enter in the cytoplasmic region of the target cell and bind with the ribosomes. And this structure is called as a polysome. Now, from this polysome structure, the translation process is carried out and protein synthesis is occur. So, at the end of this reaction, protein is synthesized inside the target cell and this protein acts as an enzyme, and this way the protein is synthesized in the mechanism of steroid hormone. Remember that here the transcription and translation are the main processes which are responsible for the action of steroid hormones. Let us talk about mechanism of action of peptide hormone, and it is similar to that of biogenic amines as well. Again the same, hormones are transported by the blood through the blood vessels. Near the tissue cell surface, these hormones come outside. Suppose it is a peptide hormone come outside from the blood vessel near the target cell. On the surface of the target cell, that is a specific receptor is present. This receptor present on the target cell is the extracellular receptor, or it is also called membrane bound receptor. Now, this peptide hormone bind with the extracellular receptor, and this structure is now called as an hormone receptor complex. In this condition of peptide hormone action, the peptide hormone remain outside the target cell. It never enter into the cell. And here this peptide hormone is called as a primary messenger for the action of hormone. Now remember that as soon as this primary messenger bind with the extracellular receptor, it form hormone receptor complex, and this hormone receptor complex activate the G protein, and these are the group of proteins. Alfred Gilman was the scientist who identified this group of protein which contains subunits called alpha, beta and the lambda. Now this G protein activate adenyl cyclase. Adenyl cyclase is also present inner side of the target cell. Now this G protein activate the adenyl cyclase which convert GTP into the GDP, and phosphate get releases which is inorganic phosphate. With the help of energy release, this GDP convert ATP into cyclic AMP, and this cyclic AMP form. ATP convert into cyclic AMP, and this cyclic AMP act as a second messenger. Second messenger for the activity of hormone action. Remember that hormone itself is primary messenger, it initiate the process, but when cyclic AMP like secondary messenger are present or form inside the cell, it induces the activity rapidly and vigorously as well. This is a kind of cascade mechanism when we talk about the peptide or the biogenic amine hormone action. What is cascade? We can understand this HR complex activate the G protein, G protein activate adenyl cyclase induces formation of GDP, and GDP forms the energy release, ATP convert into cyclic AMP. And now when the cyclic AMP form, this process or activity increases, its intensity increases manifold. Now the cyclic AMP activate protein kinase. This protein kinase is a group of enzymes which activate specific enzyme and induces a metabolic process. inside the cell. So, this way we can say that in the case of peptide hormone, proteins are not synthesized, but the protein present inside the cells are activated under the influence of primary and the secondary messengers. Now, let's compare the action of steroid hormone action and the peptide or the biogenic amine hormone action. Steroid hormone always enter into the target cell, whereas peptide hormone never enter into the target cell. Second point, the receptor for the steroid hormone, that is intracellular receptor present within the cytoplasm of the target cell, whereas the peptide hormone receptor is a membrane bound receptor, it is present as an extracellular receptor. Third point, the main process are transcription and translation over here. The main process is the cascade mechanism over here. Activity of steroid hormone is slow but lasts for long time, whereas activity of peptide hormone is very fast but it lasts for few seconds. In the case of steroid hormone, secondary messengers are not required as hormone is directly responsible for the main processes. But in the case of peptide hormone, secondary messengers are always present. Remember that cyclic AMP is one of the examples of secondary messenger. In other cases, calcium, then inositol triphosphate IP3 as well cyclic GMP also act as a secondary messenger. Secondary messenger whenever present, they increase the intensity of the action of the hormone manifold or many times. Thank you.